Hey, what's up guys, Grace here, and we have some more Anthem news to go over. The past 24 hours have been quite active, and we have some more info coming our way from Bioware regarding the upcoming update, which is also set to have new content and features among many other things. We have more news on the current situation with the console crashes and some new developer live stream later on today. So let's dive into it, and I'll start with the crash situation since this is a more pressing issue and it's affecting a lot of players. So yesterday EA and Bioware came in with various statements on the ongoing issue. Anthem's head of live service came in with an announcement: we're investigating reports of a rare crash with Anthem on PS4 that can cause a power down of the console. It may require a restart with the power button or unplugging the console first. Working closely with Sony and have engineers on it. We'll update as soon as we make progress on a fix. And then later on we also have EA stepping in with their own statement: we are aware of a crashing issue some of you have been reporting for Anthem. We're investigating and ask you that you share your crash data reports when prompted. If you have, we'll be reaching out to gather info. If not, please reply to this thread on AHQ. And this thread, of course, I've talked about it yesterday, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and post any crash issue you have in there, and I'm going to post a link down below you can follow. But as you may or may not know, we're going to get a rather big update coming up, and we have some news on that. Somebody asked Bioware if there's any chance they can assure fans of Anthem that it is in a safe position, will continue to grow and get support, and follow the previously shown roadmap. The answer later came in and pretty much said, we have a big team working on lots of upcoming improvements, fixes, plus new content and features. Anthem will keep getting bigger and better. The patch that's being referred to, of course, being most probably the one next Tuesday on March 12th, if the previous statements are to be believed. Now, what we can expect from this update in terms of actual content and not just fixes and current problems, well, we have this. We first have the Stronghold cosmetics chests, which the roadmap names the Elysian Stronghold caches. These, as you may or may not know, will provide cosmetic rewards for completing strongholds and using the keys you get from completing daily challenges. It seems that Bioware didn't add most of the cosmetics in the game into the paid shop, but rather opted to add them as a drop chance from doing actual content, which I am super happy for. Currently, a lot of players have been expressing their concerns about the lack of customization options, so these caches that can contain items from a pool of 100 cosmetics should help with that. There's also some new items being talked about, hopefully some new masterworks and legendaries with more interesting effects. Some of the weapons I loved in the game were the ones that changed your playstyles or added interesting effects. For example, we have a couple of assault rifles, one of which causes explosions on bullet hits and the other one causes lightning strikes, and I really like these ones. I really want to see more of these types of weapons. I want to see similar effects on the gear pieces as well, not just straight up damage buffs as we currently have. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but some interesting effects would also be cool, considering that Mass Effect series had some really awesome abilities in them, so I really want to see more of that in Anthem as well. There's also a free play event that was supposed to happen last week, but unfortunately that didn't happen. It seems to have been completely skipped and somehow even went under the radar, something that had to do with Shaper relics, so I hope we get to see it next week or as soon as possible, because it definitely sounded interesting, and I do love some free play events. I'm not really sure why, but I kinda started growing up in them, and they seem really interesting, especially since it seems that I'm getting way better rewards in free play compared to strongholds. Other fixes that are set to come with this update include the ones for the loot system, specifically with the whites and the greens still dropping in Grandmaster difficulties, so expect that to also be fixed or addressed in one way or another. There's also a fix coming for Gunslinger's Mark, which currently has its bonus damage to weak points turned off as it was pretty much being abused, and I can't even count the amount of times I've seen this being posted on Reddit. It seems that every day there's at least like 5 of these being posted on it, and people probably didn't read or didn't catch up to the fact that this buff has been turned off, and that is why you're seeing it giving you a 0% bonus damage. So yeah, there you have it. Hopefully we'll get it fixed as soon as possible, because currently mine is kinda going on to waste. By the way, later on today we're going to have a new developer live stream where all of the newest details about the new update will be talked about, and it looks like we're also getting a glimpse into the new legendary missions, and we might even get to see these as soon as March 12th. So I'm really excited about these ones. I do want to repeat the story missions and I want to get better rewards for doing so, so having them as legendary variants is definitely a plus. So make sure to go ahead on Twitch TV/Anthem game at the hours listed right now, so you can go ahead and check them out. If you don't know what hours these are, go ahead and use a time converter on Google. There's definitely a lot of them, and yeah, for me it's going to be midnight or maybe past midnight, so I might be missing these, but if you're in the United States you're most probably going to be at the perfect hours to see them. Nonetheless, moving on, many of you might have woken up these past few days only to realize your Alliance coins have not yet been handed out. Fortunately enough, there's some good news on the subject coming our way, and rest assured you haven't lost anything. The timer is just off a bit from when the coin is actually sent out. According to Anthem's global community manager, the team is working on fixing that. This is something that I recall happening last week as well, so it seems that this is an ongoing issue, but you shouldn't have any coins being lost. You're going to get them eventually. So after each weekly reset, you should be getting them in the next couple of days. Personally, I got mine already and never experienced any issues with these, but it seems that PC in general is the least affected of all the platforms by any kinds of big problems. Nonetheless, let's move on to some of the backlash that BioWare and EA have been suffering the past, few days. Both BioWare and EA have been under fire ever since the game launched because of the huge amount of problems that the game seems to have. It seems that every week the backlash is getting even stronger, and there's definitely a lot of hate being thrown right now at BioWare, a lot of which is warranted, I might say, considering that there's some issues in the game that shouldn't have even existed and should have been addressed during development. Despite all of this though, it seems that BioWare is willing to take on all of that heat, as that provides them feedback that they can act upon. According to Ben Irving's recent response on the subject, lead by example, continue to post constructive criticism. When the people see that is the best way to get action and response, they too will follow. Stronger together. And then there's of course another one later: providing constructive criticism is great. We read it, we take it into account, we are fixing many things in the game. I think that is a good answer, to be honest, given how BioWare is currently positioned right now. It's in their best interest, both financially and morally, to make Anthem a great experience for everybody. No one really wants to invest millions of dollars into a project just to throw it down the drain, so they have all the willingness in the world to make Anthem work. It's just a shame that they never paid close attention to many of the issues that happened in the industry in the past 5 years and avoid in the process many of the problems that other games have dealt with a long time ago. So it's really a shame that this is what's currently happening with Anthem. It seems that every time one of these cool big projects come up, they all start up from a very shaky position. They all start really roughed up, being riddled with problems, and eventually, working them out. So at least there's a glimpse of hope. It's not an excuse, by the way, on my part. It's more of like a glimpse into the future or anticipation to what Anthem will be, say, 6 months or 1 year down the line. Still, many of these current issues should have not been at any point a discussion, as development should have been taking care of this way before the game went live. Nonetheless, that's all I'm going to say on the subject for now. Now, in terms of general consensus about the game, is that I'm seeing a lot of very strange love and hate relationship with Anthem right now, and I also find myself into the same situation to a certain extent. It's strange to see such an engaging and fun gameplay, but literally everything else around it seems to fall apart. One day you're having fun with the flight and the combat mechanics, exploring the beautiful world and just generally having fun with the game, but then the next day your game crashes, you can't connect back to the servers, all of your missions get bugged out, and there's just a huge amount of headaches that you would rather not have. Again, strange problems coming from areas that should have been fixed a long time ago, but at the very least I'm seeing a ton of improvements being done every single week. I'm also interested to see how all of this unfolds next week when Division 2 comes out. A lot of players I see not being that interested in it, especially a lot of you guys have told me that you're not that interested in Division 2 as it's a pretty much reskin of Division 1 and not really worth it. Personally, it seems interesting to me, but that is because I haven't played it too much before. So nonetheless, I'm curious to see what happens on March 12 or March 15 when there's a new big contender for Anthem in the looter shooter category. But this wraps up today's news, everybody. Tell me now if you have any current big plans in Anthem. Are you looking to gear up your character, or are you instead taking the game at a slower pace, exploring stuff and generally having fun? Comment down below, and in the meantime leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Also hit that subscribe button if you want to see more Anthem content, and I'll see you guys later.